Hello everyone, it's Alzar here, and today I have the next arc of Berserk read and ready to talk about it. Kind of. I know that if I read the entire backstory for Guts, that would take a long time and be an even longer video. So I decided to do this arc in parts. I also decided that I would frame these videos a bit differently. Instead of doing a recap of everything I read for the entire video, I'll do one quick recap and talk about different subjects in the video later on. Now, before I start, make sure to like and subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. Comment down below what you felt while writing through this part of the arc. Now, without further ado, let's get into this. We start this arc by seeing where Guts came from. Primarily, he was born from a woman who was hanged, and Guts was found on the ground by a band of mercenaries. From the very start, Guts was labeled as bad luck, and nobody wanted to get that close with him. Guts is taken by the mercenaries everywhere, including the battlefield, and eventually gets trained in the sword. The bigger swords, to be precise. Guts shows promise on the battlefield. They even gets some money while fighting. After his first time fighting in a battle like that, Guts is sold out by the leader of the Mercs, his own father figure, by the way, if you didn't know, to some fat slob named Donovan, who tells Guts he bought him for the night, and then proceeds to rape him. Later on in their next battle, Guts finds Donovan and kills him. In that same battle, Gambino, the leader of the Mercs who's Guts' father figure, gets wounded very badly and loses his leg. Guts takes care of him for some time, but as soon Gambino just turns abusive and hits him for anything he does. At some point later, Gambino, fed up with his life because of Guts, tries to kill Guts. Guts defends himself, and in doing so, kills Gambino. The rest of the Mercs see this and chases Guts out of the group. Guts then spends a few years surviving on his own, as a merc, until one day, after impressing some people at a battle, he finds himself fighting the Band of the Hawk. After Guts kills one person and beats the rest of them, the leader of the Hawk, the guy we know as Griffith, comes out and swiftly beats him. After recovering a little, Griffith tells Guts that he wants him in the group, but Guts wants to fight him again, and says if he loses, he'll belong to Griffith. Guts then proceeds to start losing pretty badly. Guts then tries to turn the sword bout into a UFC match, but Griffith one-ups him and checks Guts' grappling, which ends in Guts catching an armbar and Griffith dislocating his arm. After he lost, while in his tent, some people from the Hawk try to run up on him and kill Guts. Casco, however, tells them they'll die if they try. Guts then proves himself in a few battles with the Hawks and ends up being celebrated. The next day, he and Griffith have a talk, where Griffith tells him that one day he'll own his own kingdom and he'll make sure Guts is a part of it. In this competition, we see Griffith, around his neck lies a behelit. We close this arc on a battle of the Hawks fighting some other kingdom. Now comes the topics that I want to talk about in this video. The first topic I want to talk about is something I think Guts goes through a lot, and I like to call it the cycle of Guts. Because Guts, even when he's first found, he's more treated as like bad luck and a bad omen. At first, the people like him, they treat him well, except for Gambino, and they treat him like as family, as like a kid. But then later on, they think, oh, this guy's bad luck. Especially after he kills Gambino, they run him out because he's like some kind of like fate sent by the devil to curse them, some kind of curse. And this happens to Guts, I think, a lot. He doesn't become trusting of people. So Guts is emotionally is closed off to everything, especially after what happens with the Gambino mercenaries. So I think the Band of the Hawk, I think something like that will happen again, and people will try to spin it as Guts' bad luck, even though they barely even know him. And I think that's something that's very important that's going on in the story. Guts is so closed off later on in his life. It's probably because all these times he had to deal with these type of issues, these type of people not trusting him, backstabbing him, and so that's why he's so closed off, and he's also so emotionally just not strong. Emotionally, he's very easy to insult him. Guts at first when Puck insults him, he starts crying after Puck leaves, because he's not emotionally there. After all these people have backstabbed and all that, Guts is just so closed off. I think I think we're finally like we're around a point where right now Guts is like where all his bad stuff is formulating will be after this arc. All he'll go through probably a bunch more stuff that'll make him even more closed off and even more edgy as he seems in this later on in the story. I think something that's like a little strange about this story so far is like the aspect of the battling and the mercenaries. Like at some point, the mercenary is hired and they go do a bunch of battles and then they just come back after the battle. I don't know if I don't realize if it's a full retreat or whatever it is, but like in their first battle, I think they take over the castle and they win, and the mercenaries get paid. But later on, we see Guts, on his own after like he gets separated and all that, and he beats the leader of or like the big guy with the fucking mace and he cuts him in half. It's just strange to think that the Band of the Hawk, who was already there, just ups and leaves after after they lose what I think they lose the battle. That's just funny to me that like there's a bunch of these battles and like they just come back real quick, and it's like it's just strange. I don't know. I For me right now, war just seems like a long ongoing thing. It doesn't seem to me like it's a bunch of small battles, but that's what it is in this series. It's a bunch of small battles, never like an ongoing war. The Band of the Hawk, just as a group, they seem so like young and like unreal. Like they're seeing like these top tier mercenaries. How you don't want to get caught by these guys. You'll get destroyed. And that's what even Guts thinks of them from the rumors that come around. But later on, Guts even sees himself that the Band of the Hawk are just a young group of mercenaries that have just been surviving this entire time, and being led by Griffith, they're like some kind of unnatural force that can do what they want. And I think they're a nice group of people for Guts to be around because, like him, they're all young, they're all mercenaries, and it's just I think it's like strange how much he can fit in with them even if he doesn't want to fit in, as he's closing himself off. I think I believe that Guts is just this will be his kind of family compared to what people have done to him in the past. This will be the place where he grows up, and this will be the people he's closest with. And I believe something will happen to them. That's what will cause the great disconnect that Guts has with normal everyday people later on in his life. I think the Band of the Hawk will play a great role in Gus's life, and I hope to see some of that soon because I am currently getting a little more hooked on Berserk the more I read it. Well, that'll be it for this video, guys. I'm gonna have the next part of the Golden Age hopefully up by next week. I haven't read it yet though, so no interrupt promises. But like, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Comment down below what was your favorite part of this, like little mini arc, this part of this arc. No spoilers in the comments, please. And I'll see you all next time. Peace.